the part of the price action I'm going to show you is from when we actually break the 2800 level. I mean, I don't think it had any significance as this, necessarily being the 2800, but the reaction off this low here, and then kind of how it changes distinctly as we get lower and lower and lower, and how this move is, initially this was kind of relatively like structured selling, and then through here it gets kind of, a lot more aggressive. So that's the main part which I'm going to show you, and if you guys kind of remember, go back to that, that's kind of where I'm going to be playing from. So if I pull up here, okay. So basically, I'm kind of going to let the recording play, and I'm just basically just going to run through some of the things that I was kind of thinking at the time. So, like I said, I was caught off, kind of caught off guard as to the move as it was happening, and I think with a lot of people, which kind of promoted the move going further, was the fact that a lot of people were caught off guard, and when they seen the market, sell off so much, or any direction, a lot of people tend to start thinking, oh, okay, this is overdone, or and sometimes you kind of get these imbalances, and you can kind of scalp it, like I was saying. But even when you're trying to scalp this market on the long side, it was very difficult to do so. I'm just going to play it a little bit faster, so we can kind of get the gist of it. So there's like a lot of trades like I said, when I try and scalp this market, essentially when you get these kind of over-exhausted moves, trying to, what I try and look for is how the market reloads, and how the market, where the volume's traded and how it gets trapped, and if there's kind of any kind of clear pivot points you can kind of work around. So this is after we extended that low. This was the sort of trade I was looking for straight away. Again, like I say, I'm not looking for necessarily a huge bounce, but I remember that at this point in time, the VPOC was at the high of the day. The market's kind of come off, quite a lot relative to the recent ranges, and so basically, kind of when this what's really important when you start to trade moves like this is like understanding what reaction you're going to get, because these trades, you can kind of, you can look back and think, oh, that was a really bad trade, that was not a good idea, but sometimes these trades do work, and they are good trades, I think, but you have to kind of understand what reaction you're looking for. So a lot of this was kind of the fact that I wasn't getting the reaction that I was initially wanting to see, which was, it's a very small kind of tell, but it's really important when the market is in this kind of mood, because you can, like I said, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble when you know what you want to see, but you're not seeing it, and then you continue to kind of keep doing it or holding on to it. So like there's a few things that I was doing, so that was kind of one of the big things, and then as we'll see here hopefully in a second, when I actually start to try and buy the market for the first time, it's like how I get filled, as I think is really important as well, because the way in which the market trades out my bids, it's like it wasn't really promoting that type of move I was looking for. So as we kind of see, the market continues to offer, even just from me watching back the video now and me saying how I was, I know what I was doing, I know what I was looking for, even just looking at it now, kind of fresher point of view, the market hasn't really shown me anything, quite yet as to, wanting to interact with it. So in that sense, so as you kind of see, the offer is kind of distinctly, like thicker and like heavier in this sense, and any kind of volume which does clip, I think it's really important. When like I say, I'm looking for trap volume, and then how volume trades above there. And as you kind of see here, the first signs of any volume actually clipping up, a lot of my problem was kind of preempting the volume, and then kind of reacting, and then instead of actually getting confirmation of a low and then seeing it, and then instantly the bid is pulled. So for example, that was the very first time in this whole move down we actually has volume up, after this very kind of small kind of reaction off the low, this kind of price, this trap volume here. And this was another example of me saying I didn't really like how my bids got filled there, because for example, the bids just got pulled, like so I'm kind of, like I said, I'm wanting to kind of start scaling out here. This was, not actually too, this, like I said, this wasn't actually too bad in how I traded this initial bit. But this was kind of my first response to saying, right, this wasn't necessarily what I was expecting. I was expecting a quite quick reaction. The market shouldn't necessarily be churning as much as it is here. Shouldn't be taking as much volume here. The offer shouldn't be reloading as much as it is. This type of price action should be occurring on the offer. So I like to see the offers getting pulled, kind of, people actually paying up from down here. So I think it doesn't really feel like anyone's paying up. It just kind of feels like there's someone passively kind of soaking the offer, kind of stacking the liquidity, which is not what you want to see when you're kind of looking for that kind of fast money move back up again. So we'll play it a little bit further, because this is actually where I get where I actually kind of double down on the position and it doesn't go down, it doesn't go as well. And the kind of whole premise of this move lower is, yeah, it was kind of a technical kind of washout and positioning washout, which was kind of, I felt, relatively well telegraphed. It was more the fact that this move gets more and more aggressive as it goes lower, purely because of people are doing this same trade. People are kind of, thinking it's a good place to buy. People are, there's a lot of people still on the offer trying to cover longs as well. From within this area, people who are actually maybe have been long from a lot further away, a lot further down, are now covering on this day. They see it as like a liquidation day. They just want to cover. This isn't necessarily fresh selling. This is just people sitting there on the offer. And again, this was me preempting that kind of volume. And notice how I got filled on everything there, and it didn't even necessarily trade. You didn't see it trade down to those bids, but everything there I got filled on. So for me, that was again the market kind of briefly panicking up, and then the liquidity gets pulled in the bid, and now it instantly goes back to reloading the offer. So, you can be very tight risk with this trade, because you're only taking maybe a handle or a couple of ticks at a time, because it should be quite a precise trade. But this kind of comes back to what I was saying, is when the market is doing this and it's not showing you the reaction you're expecting, you need to kind of be aware of this, especially when you're caught off guard. You're not being prepared for this move. And you can do a lot of damage here. Like I was saying, this move will just go a lot lower. And basically, it's kind of the whole premise of the initial move. I eventually do get short and then start selling, but you've kind of missed the meat of the trade. You've missed the kind of high conviction ticks. You've missed the best risk reward area. And this was kind of nature of this was like a long liquidation move. And this price action is what I want to kind of show in the next video. Kind of briefly, what I'm going to do is just show you how I traded the offer on. How I traded the offer yesterday, just slightly different. I actually kind of positioned with the move, but a few of the tells I was kind of getting were from this move, so kind of the price action we saw on Monday. So I'll quickly run through what I was looking at from these days.